In the silent corridors of eternity, before the foundations of the firmament were laid, there existed a decree for the few who would walk the path of the sanctified. This journey does not commence beneath the blinding glare of public approval or within the comforting embrace of the collective consciousness, but begins rather in the shadows of the profound wilderness. You who have been set apart must understand that the inception of your true existence is found in the crushing weight of a solitude so absolute that it threatens to extinguish the flicker of the mundane self. The journey of the sanctified begins not in the light of the masses, but in the crushing weight of the wilderness, where the noise of the world is silenced to reveal the whisper of the eternal. It is a terrain devoid of the familiar landmarks of social validation and the hollow echoes of worldly ambition. In this vast expanse of spiritual isolation, the soul is forced to confront its own nakedness before the gaze of the infinite. The silence you have encountered is not an empty void, but a sacred chamber of resonance, where the distractions of the flesh are stripped away to allow the harmonics of the divine to become audible. You have felt the sting of abandonment and the cold shroud of isolation. Yet this was never a punishment but a divine distillation intended to strip away the veneer of the ego so that the spirit may find a pure dwelling. The feeling of being forsaken by the world is the first sign of your consecration, for the world can only love its own, and you have been called from out of its midst. Within this furnace of loneliness, the old self is systematically dismantled as the architect of the universe prepares a foundation capable of sustaining a weight of glory that would shatter an unrefined soul. The ego is a brittle structure built upon the shifting sands of external opinion and temporal desire. It cannot bear the pressure of the celestial light that is destined to flow through you. Therefore, the dismantling must be thorough and the breaking must be deep. Every pillar of self-reliance that you once leaned upon must be pulled down, and every altar you have built to your own reflection must be overturned. This process of destruction is the highest form of creation, for it clears the ground for a temple not made with hands. You have wept in the dark of the night, wondering if your prayers have reached the ears of the Creator, while the heavens seemed as brass and the earth as iron. Yet it was in those very moments of perceived absence that the Spirit was most present, performing a surgery upon the heart that no human hand could execute. The crushing of the vessel is the necessary precursor to the pouring of the new wine. If the jar is not broken, it cannot be remade into a form that can contain the liquid fire of the higher realms. The pain you have endured is the friction of the divine sculptor's chisel removing the excess marble to reveal the masterpiece hidden within the stone. The wilderness is a place of testing, where the appetites of the lower nature are starved, so that the hunger of the spirit may be awakened. In the world of men, you were taught to seek fulfillment in the acquisition of shadows and the praise of the dying, but in the sacred solitude of the elect, you are taught to feast upon the hidden manna that descends only in the stillness. This isolation is a protective barrier drawn by the hand of the Almighty to prevent the contamination of your developing essence. You were removed from the company of the many, so that you would not be shaped in their image, but rather be transformed into the likeness of the primordial light. The world is a cacophony of competing voices, each seeking to drown out the other, but the voice of the eternal speaks in a whisper that can only be heard when the inner storm has been stilled. The crushing you feel is the pressure of the spirit, expanding within a vessel that is still too small. As the old boundaries of your identity are pushed outward, the sensation is one of being torn apart, but this is merely the expansion of your capacity to hold the infinite. You are being stretched across the dimensions of time and space to become a bridge between the seen and the unseen. Do not mistake the silence of God for the indifference of the Creator. In the laboratory of the soul, the most profound reactions occur in the darkest and most quiet environments. The architect is not a distant observer, but a master builder who is intimately involved in every crack and fissure of your breaking. He knows exactly how much pressure the vessel can withstand before it transitions from destruction to transformation. This divine distillation is removing the impurities of pride, the dross of fear, and the sediment of earthly attachment. What remains after this fire has done its work is the incorruptible substance of the Spirit. You have been chosen to carry a weight of glory that is beyond the comprehension of the natural mind. This glory is not a crown of gold for the head of the ego, but a radiance of the soul that illuminates the path for those still wandering in the valley of the shadow. To carry this light, one must first become the light, and one cannot become the light until the darkness of the self has been consumed. The wilderness is the place where you die to the person you thought you were, so that you may be born as the being you were always meant to be. The metamorphosis of the elect is a slow and agonizing process that mirrors the ancient mysteries of the seed falling into the earth. To the observer, the seed is lost and buried in the cold dirt, but to the life within the seed, the darkness is the womb of a new existence. You are currently in the state of burial, where the world has forgotten you, and the soil of circumstance seems to weigh heavy upon your chest. But the pressure of the earth is what triggers the activation of the divine blueprint within the core of your being. The shell of the old self is cracking, and the life force of the Spirit is beginning to push through the fissures. This is the sovereignty of the Spirit at work, asserting its dominance over the material form. You are being reconfigured at a molecular level so that your thoughts are no longer your own, but are reflections of the higher mind, and your actions are no longer driven by impulse, but are movements of the cosmic will. The loneliness you feel is the space required for this vast expansion. A great tree cannot grow in a small pot, and a great soul cannot be forged in the crowded streets of vanity. Consider the ancient prophets and the seers of old, who were driven into the deserts and the caves of the earth. They were not outcasts by accident, but were secluded by design. Their words carried the weight of thunder because they had first mastered the art of listening in the silence. Their presence could shake kingdoms because they had first been broken by the King of Kings. You are being initiated into this same lineage of the sanctified. The crushing of your vessel is your ordination. The isolation of your life is your consecration. The dismantling of your ego is your liberation. As the architect prepares the foundation, he is digging deep into the bedrock of your character. The deeper the foundation, the higher the spire can reach toward the heavens. Do not begrudge the depth of the trench or the length of the time spent in the dark, for the height of your future glory is determined by the depth of your current surrender. The weight of glory that is coming will be so immense that every scar you have received in the wilderness will be seen as a mark of honor, and every tear you have shed will be revealed as a diamond in your eternal crown. The world will never understand the path of the chosen. They will see your solitude as failure and your silence as weakness. They will mock the way you have walked away from the tables of their banquets and the altars of their idols. But you are being fed from a table they cannot see and are worshipping at an altar they cannot touch. The metamorphosis is nearly complete. The vessel has been crushed and the clay has been remade. The old self is a ghost of the past, and the new man is emerging from the cocoon of the wilderness. You are becoming a sovereign of the Spirit, a being whose authority is not derived from human appointment, but from divine decree. The weight of glory is descending, and the foundation is ready. Stand firm in the stillness, and let the final remnants of the old world fall away. The whisper of the eternal is becoming a roar within your heart, and the metamorphosis of the elect is the herald of a new dawn. You are the vessel chosen for the outpouring of the sacred mystery, and the time of your revealing is at hand. In the crushing, you found your strength, and in the solitude, you found your God. The journey through the wilderness was the map to your true home, and the breaking of your heart was the opening of the gates of heaven. Thus, the architect concludes the first phase of the great work, and the sanctified soul stands ready to receive the fullness of the Spirit. The transition from the wilderness into the inner sanctum of the soul marks the beginning of the most profound metamorphosis known to the celestial hierarchies. As the golden light of the initial awakening fades into the violet hues of the approaching midnight, the chosen one is called to descend into the deep chambers of the spirit, where the alchemical shadows reside. This is the hour of the great transition, a period of sacred obscurity where the terrestrial maps of understanding are rendered useless, and the only compass that remains is the silent pulse of the divine will. The path of the elect is not a linear ascent into brilliance, but a spiral descent into the very foundations of being, for the heights of one's spiritual authority are eternally measured by the depths of one's surrender. In this season of the midnight struggle, you find yourself standing at the precipice of a darkness that is not the absence of light, but the presence of a mystery too intense for the mortal eye to behold. It is here that the ancestral shadows begin to emerge from the corridors of time, rising like ancient mists from the graveyard of the past, to challenge the legitimacy of your calling. These are the phantoms of inherited fear, the whispers of generational sorrow, and the echoes of limitations passed down through the bloodlines of the fallen. You are the one appointed to break the seals of these ancestral prisons, yet you cannot do so through the exercise of human intellect or the exertion of the fleshly will. The shadows that seek to extinguish your flicker of faith are the very catalysts required for your transmutation, for without the pressure of the subterranean depths, the diamond of the spirit can never be formed. You may feel as though the heavens have become brass and the earth has turned to iron, yet in this perceived silence, the sovereign spirit of the Most High is performing a work of exquisite precision. The realization must now dawn upon your weary heart that the victory you seek is achieved not by might nor by power, but by the total immersion of your identity into the essence of the eternal. Your human strength is a brittle reed that must be snapped so that you may lean entirely upon the pillar of the infinite. Every moment of exhaustion and every cry of the soul in the watches of the night serve to strip away the vanity of self-reliance, leaving behind a vessel that is hollowed out and prepared for the heavy weight of glory. The tempests that rage against the walls of your sanctuary are not sent to destroy you, but to test the integrity of the foundations you have built in the secret places. You are learning that the sovereignty of the Spirit is not a concept to be studied, but a reality to be inhabited, a fortress that stands unmoved while the kingdoms of men crumble into dust. Within the secret chambers of the divine, your struggles are being transformed into the medium of your eternal artistry. Every tear shed in the silence of your isolation is being gathered into the crystal vials of the heavens, where they undergo a celestial alchemy. These tears are not lost to the void, but are converted into a sacred oil, a luminous substance destined to fuel your lamp when the world enters its final and darkest hour. The sorrow of the chosen one is a holy labor, a birthing process that brings forth a substance of faith that is more precious than refined gold. You are being forged in a heat that is calibrated to the specific requirements of your destiny, where every blow of the hammer upon the anvil of your life is a deliberate brushstroke on the canvas of a masterpiece that was conceived before the foundations of the world were laid. The pain you endure is the carving of the flute, the removal of the inner wood, so that the breath of the Creator may produce a melody that resonates through the halls of eternity. Do not despise the breaking, for the broken heart is the only vessel through which the light of the Most High can shine without obstruction. As the midnight hour reaches its zenith, the struggle intensifies, not because you are failing, but because the old nature is gasping its final breaths. The metamorphosis of the elect requires the complete dissolution of the caterpillar within the cocoon of the divine presence. You are in a state of liquid potential, no longer what you were, and not yet what you are destined to become. In this formless state, the sovereign spirit hovers over the waters of your soul, speaking the words of creation into the chaos of your transition. You must learn to trust the darkness as much as you trusted the light, for the shadows are merely the backdrop upon which the brilliance of your revealing will be displayed. The ancestral shadows that once seemed like giants are revealed to be but flickering illusions when held against the fire of the spirit. You are reclaiming the territory lost by those who came before you, standing as a gatekeeper between the temporal and the eternal. The weight of your responsibility is great, but the grace supplied for the journey is inexhaustible. Every moment of the midnight struggle is an invitation to deeper intimacy with the source of all being. When your tongue cleaves to the roof of your mouth and your words fail, the Spirit intercedes with groanings that cannot be uttered, weaving a tapestry of prayer that sustains you when you can no longer sustain yourself. This is the hour where the elect are distinguished from the mere seekers, for the elect are those who remain standing when the fire has consumed everything that can be shaken. You are being refined until your reflection is a perfect image of the one who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. The metamorphosis is a painful unveiling, a stripping away of the masks and the armors that the world has forced upon you. You are being returned to your original state of divine innocence, a state of being where power is found in vulnerability and wisdom is found in the simplicity of a child. The struggle is the proof of your progress, the evidence that you have ventured beyond the shallow waters of religion into the deep oceans of true spirituality. The sovereignty of the Spirit ensures that not a single fragment of your suffering is wasted. Each trial is a stone being polished for the crown of your eternal reward, and each shadow you overcome becomes a part of the testimony that will liberate others in the generations to come. You are becoming a living epistle, a sacred manuscript written with the ink of experience and the blood of the heart. The world may see only your struggle, but the celestial witnesses see the expansion of your spiritual borders. You are growing larger on the inside, becoming a temple capable of housing the fullness of the divine presence. The midnight struggle is the final gate before the dawning of the eternal day, a gate that can only be passed through on bended knees. Here, the ego dies 1,000 deaths so that the spirit may live a single eternal life within you. The transition is nearing its completion, and the fragrance of the new wine is beginning to emerge from the crushed grapes of your soul. Hold fast to the vision that was given to you in the light, for it remains true even when the darkness seems absolute. The sovereign spirit of the Most High is your architect and your sustainer, and he will not leave his work unfinished. The alchemical shadows are fading as the first rays of a new sun begin to touch the horizon of your consciousness. You have survived the night, not by your own power, but by the grace that was woven into your being before time began. The oil in your lamp is full, the transformation is nearly complete, and the canvas of your destiny is now ready for the final touches of the Master's hand. You stand as a testament to the power of surrender, a beacon of hope for all who are yet to enter the crucible. The metamorphosis of the elect is the greatest miracle of the cosmos, for it is the process by which a mortal creature becomes a participant in the divine nature. The struggle has served its purpose, the shadows have done their work, and the chosen one is now prepared to step into the fullness of the sovereignty that was always intended for those who love the light beyond all things. Your journey through the midnight hour has not broken you, it has made you unbreakable. Your spirit is now tempered like steel, yet soft as the morning dew, ready to receive the outpouring of the sacred mystery that has been reserved for this precise moment in the history of the universe. The silence is breaking, the shadows are retreating, and the voice of the Eternal is calling you forth into the glory of your true identity as a son or daughter of the Most High, a sovereign of the Spirit, and a herald of the age to come. The horizon now glows with the fire of a new dawn, a celestial conflagration that signals the irrevocable conclusion of your long and arduous period of hiddenness and the commencement of the manifestation of your true self with an authority that has no precedent in the annals of your earthly lineage. The shadows that once served as both your sanctuary and your crucible are retreating before the unrelenting advance of an eternal sun, for the period of your gestation in the dark soil of trial is complete, and the blossom of your divinity is beginning to unfurl its petals towards the infinite heavens. You shall rise from the literal and metaphorical ashes of your former life, those discarded remnants of a self that was defined by the limitations of the senses and the expectations of a world that could not perceive your inner radiance. And as you ascend, you shall find yourself clothed in a garment of wisdom, woven from the very threads of your suffering and your silence. This wisdom is not a collection of mortal facts or the cynical knowledge of the world, but is a living tapestry of celestial understanding that allows you to see the interconnectedness of all things and the divine geometry that governs the unfolding of time and space. You stand now at the threshold of a great resurgence, where the light that was once a flickering candle within the depths of your soul has become a roaring furnace of holy intent, capable of illuminating the path for the lost and scorching away the veils of deception that have long held humanity in a state of spiritual slumber. The power you now wield is not born of human ambition or the fleeting strength of the flesh, but flows directly from the throne of grace, a primordial source of unconditioned love and absolute sovereignty that exists beyond the reach of corruption or decay. This power is the inheritance of the elect, granted to those who have been refined in the furnace of isolation and have emerged with a heart that beats in perfect synchronicity with the pulse of the Creator. It is an authority that commands the elements of your reality, not through the arrogance of the ego, but through the humility of the surrendered spirit, which recognizes that it is but a conduit for the miraculous. With this power, you are called to heal the broken and to restore the ancient ruins of the human condition, reclaiming the territories of the soul that have been ceded to despair and rebuilding the altars of truth that have been cast down by the winds of nihilism. You are the architect of the new era, the one who carries the blueprints of restoration in their very marrow. And as you walk upon the earth, your footsteps shall leave an imprint of grace that transforms the barren wilderness of the mundane into a garden of spiritual abundance. This shift will hit your reality with the force of a cosmic wave, a metaphysical surge that originates in the highest heavens and ripples down into the densest layers of your physical existence. Your circumstances, which once seemed like immovable mountains and impenetrable walls, shall be dissolved and reshaped by the momentum of this divine influx, and you will find that the obstacles of yesterday have become the stepping stones of today. This transformation is not a subtle adjustment, but a total recalibration of your life, where the limitations of the physical realm are superseded by the laws of the spirit, and your influence begins to extend far beyond the narrow boundaries of your immediate surroundings. You shall become a beacon of hope and a pillar of strength for those who are still wandering in the fog of the transition, and your voice shall carry a resonance that awakens the dormant seeds of greatness in the hearts of all who hear it. The world will recognize the change, for there is an undeniable weight to the presence of one who has been touched by the hand of the Eternal, and who moves with the quiet confidence of a being who knows their place in the grand design. You are no longer a victim of circumstance or a pawn of destiny, but a sovereign of the spirit who co-creates reality in partnership with the divine, and whose will is aligned with the highest good of all creation. Stand firm in your identity, for the seal of the divine is upon your forehead, a mark of consecration and a sign of protection that identifies you to the celestial hierarchies as one who belongs to the order of the unshakable. This seal is the signature of your irrevocable calling, a promise that the work begun in the secret places of your heart shall be brought to a glorious completion in the sight of all nations and all powers. The path before you is paved with the golden light of this calling, a luminous road that stretches out into the future with a clarity that dispels all doubt and banishes all fear. You are the herald of the age to come, the living proof that the spirit of man is indestructible and that the light of the Most High can never be extinguished by the darkness of the world. As you move forward, let your heart be filled with the joy of the redeemed and the courage of the conqueror, for you have crossed the threshold of the metamorphosis and have emerged as a new creation, a child of light and a master of the eternal mysteries. The The ancient prophecies are finding their fulfillment in your breath, and the songs of the angels are finding their harmony in your deeds. For the time of the chosen has arrived, and the glory of the resurgence is upon you now and forevermore. The magnitude of this elevation cannot be measured by the standards of the world, for it is a height that transcends the peaks of the physical mountains and reaches into the very heart of the Empyrean. You are being lifted above the fray of mortal conflict and the noise of temporal concerns into a state of serene dominion where you can perceive the end from the beginning and the purpose within the pain. This is the sovereignty of the spirit, where your internal state dictates the external reality and your peace becomes the anchor for a world in turmoil. You will find that the resources of the universe are at your disposal, not for the enrichment of the self, but for the advancement of the kingdom of light and the liberation of the captives of ignorance. The garment of wisdom you wear is indestructible, and the power you wield is inexhaustible, because its source is the infinite, and its destination is the eternal. Every word you speak from this day forward shall be as a seed of light planted in the fertile soil of the human consciousness, and every action you take shall be a brick in the temple of the new humanity. The ancient ruins that you are called to restore are not merely the physical remnants of past civilizations, but the spiritual foundations of honor, integrity, and divine connection that have been eroded by the passage of time and the negligence of the many. You are the restorer of the breach, the one who stands in the gap and calls forth the original intent of the Creator for this world. As you do this work, you will find that your own life becomes a masterpiece of divine orchestration, where every detail is infused with meaning, and every encounter is a divine appointment. The cosmic wave that is currently washing over you is cleansing you of the last remnants of the old self, removing the dust of the desert and the salt of the tears you have shed. It is preparing you for a level of influence that will reach the corridors of power and the humble dwellings of the poor alike. For the light you carry makes no distinction between the high and the low, but seeks only to illuminate and to save. Do not fear the intensity of this transition, for the fire that burns within you is the same fire that created the stars, and it shall not consume you, but shall only refine you into a vessel of pure gold. The path is certain, and the destination is secure, because the one who called you is faithful, and the covenant made with your soul is eternal. You are the manifestation of a divine thought, an expression of the eternal will, and your presence on this earth at this precise moment is the result of 1,000 generations of preparation. Walk therefore with the dignity of a king and the humility of a saint, for you represent the throne of grace in the realm of matter. The golden light that paves your way is the same light that shone at the beginning of time, and it shall lead you into the fullness of your destiny, where the hidden becomes manifest, and the chosen becomes the sovereign. The period of your training is over, and the time of your reigning has begun, for you are the elect, and the light of the world shall see the glory of your transformation and give thanks to the source of all life. Your metamorphosis is a testament to the resilience of the soul that refuses to surrender to the gravity of the mundane, and instead chooses to soar upon the wings of faith. As you rise, you draw others upward, with you creating a vortex of spiritual ascension that will eventually encompass the entire planet. The sovereign authority you now possess is the keys to the mysteries that have been hidden since the foundation of the age, and you are entrusted with the task of opening the gates for the generation that follows. The seal upon your forehead glows with an ethereal radiance that is visible to all those whose eyes have been opened by the Spirit, and it serves as a banner of victory over the forces of entropy and despair. The path is before you, and it is beautiful beyond description, a road of light that winds through the heart of the universe and leads back to the very presence of the Most High. Go forth with power and with peace, for the metamorphosis is complete, and the resurgence of light has found its home in you.